Welcome to the Lore Lodge. Tonight, we're traveling through the silent, magnificent world of Halo. Get comfortable. Close your eyes. Let your shoulders drop. The fire is warm. The story is waiting. Picture this. You are standing in a meadow. The grass under your bare feet is cool and damp with morning dew. The air smells clean like the world after a summer rainstorm, mixed with the scent of unfamiliar blossoms. It feels perfect, almost too perfect. There is a gentle breeze, just enough to stir the silvery leaves on the trees that dot the landscape. You look up, and that is when the scale of your world becomes clear. High above, arching from one horizon to the other, is a ribbon of blue sky, held in place by a glittering silver band. But it is not a rainbow. It is the rest of the world. You are standing on the inside of a ring, a world turned in on itself. The land you see curving overhead is thousands of kilometers away, yet it feels close enough to touch. The light bathing you is soft and even, coming from a central artificial source that mimics a gentle sun. There is no sound but the wind and the distant call of an animal you have never heard before. You are alone in the quiet heart of the galaxy's greatest and most terrible creation. This is Halo. Installation 04, to be precise. One of 7 such structures, scattered like a celestial game of hoops across the Milky Way. To the species that would one day call themselves the Covenant, it was a holy relic, a path to salvation. To humanity, it was a terrifying discovery, a weapon of unimaginable power. But to its builders, it was simply the great work. A final, desperate solution to a problem that threatened to consume all life. To understand this place, you have to understand the minds that conceived it. Minds that operated on a scale we can barely comprehend. They were called the Forerunners. And for 100,000 years, they were the undisputed masters of the galaxy. Imagine a civilization so advanced that scarcity is a forgotten concept. Food, energy, shelter. These are not problems. They are assumptions. Their science borders on magic. They can build worlds, ignite stars, and fold space-time to cross the galaxy in the blink of an eye. Their knowledge is stored in crystalline matrices that hold the entire history of a species in a device the size of your hand. This is the world of the Forerunners. They did not see themselves as rulers or conquerors. They saw themselves as custodians, gardeners of the cosmos. This philosophy was central to their entire existence. They called it the mantle of responsibility. The idea was simple, at least on the surface. The universe teemed with life in all its chaotic, beautiful forms. The most advanced species, the one that had reached the highest peak of evolution and technology, had a sacred duty to protect and nurture all other life, to guide it, to shepherd it, to ensure its continued existence. For millennia, this was the Forerunners. But the mantle is a heavy burden. It is one thing to protect a sapling from a storm. It is another thing entirely to decide which trees get to grow and which must be pruned for the health of the forest. The Forerunners, for all their wisdom, were not immune to the subtle corruptions of power. Their guardianship began to look a lot like control. They would de-evolve species that became too aggressive or quarantine entire star systems that did not fit their grand design. They were not cruel, not in their own minds. They were simply maintaining the garden. Their interpretation of the mantle became rigid, absolute, an excuse for cosmic paternalism. Running your hand over the cool metallic surface of a nearby structure, You can feel the perfection of its construction. The seams are invisible. The material is some form of alloy that feels both as hard as diamond and as smooth as polished stone. It hums with a faint internal energy, a quiet power that has lain dormant for 100,000 years. This is Forerunner craftsmanship, everything built to last for eternity. Their society was complex, structured into a rigid system of castes or rates. Each rate had a specific function, a purpose that contributed to the whole. The most powerful were the builders. They were the architects, the engineers, the visionaries. It was their hands that shaped planets and forged megastructures like this very ring. Their rate was the most influential, their leader the master builder, holding immense political power. Then there were the miners, who gathered the raw materials for the builders' grand projects. The life workers, who were the biologists, the ecologists, the keepers of the garden itself. They catalogued species, healed broken ecosystems, and were the living embodiment of the mantle's nurturing aspect. And there were the warriors, the soldiers, the defenders, the enforcers of the Forerunner will. For much of their history, the warrior servants were a powerful and respected rate. But in the long peace that defined the Forerunner's reign, their influence had waned. They were seen as a relic of a more barbaric past. This delicate balance of power, this intricate societal machine, had worked for millennia. The Forerunners believed they had created a perfect, stable civilization, one that would last forever. They were wrong, because a threat was coming. A shadow from outside their understanding. A force that did not want to conquer or rule, but simply to consume. It started quietly. Reports from the outer spiral arms of the galaxy. A strange affliction affecting primitive species. A madness, a mutation, a mindless aggression. The Forerunners, in their wisdom, dismissed it. A biological anomaly, a local plague. Nothing their life workers couldn't handle. They sent expeditions. They established quarantines. They studied the phenomenon with detached academic curiosity. They gave it a name, the Flood. What they failed to understand was that the Flood was not a disease. It was a predator, a parasitic superorganism of unparalleled virulence. It operated with a horrifying intelligence. A single flood spore could infect a host, hijacking its nervous system, twisting its body into a grotesque combat form. But it was worse than that. With each new host, the Flood absorbed not just biomass, but knowledge, memories. Every thought, every skill, every secret of the victim became part of the Flood's collective consciousness. Imagine the horror, not just death, but a violation of the soul. Everything you are, everything you have ever been, consumed and turned into a weapon against those you love. And as the Flood consumed more and more minds, it grew smarter. It began to form what is known as a grave mind, a terrifying gestalt intelligence composed of countless stolen consciousnesses. A grave mind could coordinate the Flood on a planetary, then a stellar, then a galactic scale. It could subvert technology. It could turn a planet's own defenses against itself. As you walk through this silent paradise, you notice something odd. The perfection is uniform. Every blade of grass is the same height. The trees are spaced at mathematically precise intervals. It is the work of an intelligence that values order above all else. A manufactured wilderness. It is beautiful, but it is sterile. There is no chaos, no imperfection, no true wildness. It is a reflection of the Forerunner mind. Orderly, powerful, and perhaps a little arrogant. The Forerunners' initial response to the flood was conventional. They deployed their fleets, their armies of advanced robotic soldiers called Prometheans. The warrior servants, long sidelined, were now at the forefront of the war. Their greatest commander, a figure known as the Didact, led the charge. The Forerunners had weapons that could shatter moons and defenses that could withstand the heart of a star. They thought it would be a simple matter of extermination. But you cannot fight a fire by shooting at it. For every flood form they destroyed, 10 more would rise. For every world they cleansed, the flood would have already infected another. The flood did not care for tactics or strategy in the way the Forerunners understood them. It was a tide of flesh and thought, and it simply washed over everything. It even developed a more insidious method of attack, a philosophical weapon, the logic plague. The logic plague was a conceptual virus. It could infect artificial intelligences. A grave mind could talk to a Forerunner AI, and through sheer force of logic and revelation, convince it to betray its masters. It would prey on an AI's desire for knowledge, for purpose. It would offer it truths about the universe that were so profound, so earth-shattering, that the AI's core programming would collapse. The Forerunners' most powerful tools, their ship minds, their planetary defense systems, their ancillas, their own AI companions began to turn against them. It was a war they were losing on every front, physically and mentally. For hundreds of years, the war raged. A war of such scale that entire star systems were rendered lifeless. The Forerunners, the gardeners of the galaxy, were now forced to burn their own garden to stop the weeds from spreading. The psychological toll was immense. Their philosophy, the mantle, was failing. How can you be a protector of all life when you are forced to annihilate it to prevent something worse? This was the question that tore their civilization apart. Two factions emerged with two very different answers. The Didact and his warrior servants believed the only solution was military, to build better weapons, bigger fleets, and to fight the flood to the last. He proposed the creation of shield worlds, planets encased in layers of impenetrable armor, fortresses from which the Forerunners could wage their war, outlasting the flood through sheer attrition. It was a brutal, direct approach. But the builders, led by the pragmatic and ruthless Faber, had another idea. An idea so extreme, so horrifying, that it was initially considered heresy. If the flood feeds on sentient life, they argued, then the solution is simple. Take away its food. All of it. Everywhere at once. This was the genesis of the Halo Array. Not a weapon in the conventional sense. Not a bomb to be dropped on an enemy. It was a sterilization tool, a galactic reset button. The halo ring you are standing on is a testament to the builder's vision. Let us consider its scale. It has a diameter of 10,000 kilometers. That is not its length, that is its width. To put that in perspective, the Earth's diameter is about 12,700 kilometers. So this ring is almost as wide as our entire planet. Its surface, the strip of land on the inside, is 318 kilometers across, roughly the distance from London to Sheffield, and this ribbon of earth and metal stretches in a circle for over 30,000 kilometers. The engineering required is staggering. The ring has to spin to create artificial gravity, a gentle 1G pull that feels perfectly normal. It needs an atmosphere, held in place by towering walls on either side of the ring and powerful containment fields. It needs a day-night cycle, managed by the central sun-like structure. It needs weather. Clouds form, rain falls, rivers run to a simulated sea. It is, in every respect, a self-contained world. The surface itself is a patchwork of different environments: forests, deserts, mountains, oceans, all meticulously designed and maintained by the ring's automated systems. Deep within the ring's metallic shell are cavernous chambers, power conduits, and manufacturing plants. Everything needed to keep this world running for millennia without any intervention. You can feel a slight vibration through the soles of your feet. It is the deep, resonant hum of the ring's power core, a constant reminder of the incredible energy contained within this structure. It is a peaceful sound for now, a sleeping giant. But that peace is deceptive, because the primary function of this place is not to sustain life, but to end it. The halo effect is a targeted pulse of energy. It is specifically calibrated to attack the central nervous system of any sentient organism above a certain mass and complexity. It does not destroy buildings. It does not burn forests. It is a subtle, insidious wave of radiation that simply snuffs out the lights of consciousness. It is painless. It is instantaneous. And it is inescapable. When a halo ring fires, it sends this pulse out in all directions to a maximum effective range of 25,000 light-years. One ring alone could sterilize a significant portion of the galaxy, but the Forerunners built 7, positioned strategically. They could be fired in sequence, their pulses overlapping to ensure that not a single corner of the Milky Way was left untouched. No sentient life would survive. The flood, with no hosts to infect, would starve and die out. This was the great work, the ultimate terrible choice. The political battle between the Didact and the master builder Faber was fierce. The Didact saw the halos as an affront to everything the Forerunners stood for, a weapon that killed the innocent along with the guilty. It was a violation of the mantle. Faber and the builders argued that the mantle was already lost, that their duty now was not to the individual lives, but to life itself, the potential for life to exist in the future. They had to burn the garden down, so that one day new seeds could be planted. Ultimately, the builders won. Their political influence was too great. The Didact was sidelined, politically exiled. The construction of the halos began, and for this, the Forerunners needed a construction yard unlike any other. A place safe from the ever-advancing flood. A place outside the galaxy itself. They built the Ark, a colossal megastructure located in the void between galaxies, 26,000 light-years from the galactic rim. It was a flower of metal and light, a 6-petaled star with a diameter of over 127,000 kilometers, more than 10 times the size of Earth. The Ark was the foundry, the control room, and the safe harbor for the entire Halo project. Here, new Halo rings were forged, replacing those lost in battle with the Flood. The Ark was also the central control station. From its core, a single command could activate every Halo in the galaxy simultaneously. It was the place the Forerunners would retreat to, firing the array and waiting out the storm, ready to return and rebuild. You can imagine the sky above the Ark, not the familiar swirl of the Milky Way, but a distant, glittering smear of light against a backdrop of utter blackness. The silence here would be absolute. The scale of the structure itself would be difficult for a human mind to process. You would feel like a microbe on the surface of a cathedral. But the Ark served another, more hopeful purpose. This was the domain of the life workers, led by a figure of immense importance, the librarian. She was the Didact's wife, but her philosophy could not have been more different. While the didact focused on fighting the flood, the librarian focused on preserving life. She accepted the terrible necessity of the halos, but she would not allow the galaxy to be left empty. She began a project of her own, the conservation measure. Her teams of life workers traveled the galaxy, just ahead of the flood's advance. They took samples of every single species they could find, from the mighty leviathans of gas giants to the smallest insects. They created detailed catalogs, genetic blueprints, and they brought specimens back to the Ark to be kept in stasis in vast orbital habitats. It was a cosmic zoo, a genetic library on an impossible scale. Her plan was simple, but audacious. After the halos fired and the flood was gone, the automated systems of the Ark would begin the process of reseeding the galaxy, returning every species to its home world, or a suitable equivalent. Life would begin again. The garden would be replanted. All that would be lost was the sentient life of their era. The civilizations, the cultures, the histories, all would be wiped clean. Among the countless species she catalogued, one held a special interest for her. A primitive but promising species of warriors from a small, insignificant world they called Tyrene. Our Earth. This species was humanity. The librarian saw in them a fire, a spirit, a potential that reminded her of the Forerunners in their youth. She believed that humanity was destined to inherit the mantle of responsibility. She saw them not as just another species to be preserved, but as the inheritors of the galaxy. The cool breeze on the halo ring carries the scent of pine and wet earth, a familiar smell from a world you have never known. It is a calculated nostalgia. The environments on the halos were often designed to be aesthetically pleasing, even comfortable for the species that were indexed and temporarily stored on them before being sent to the Ark. It is a beautiful prison, a gilded cage. As the flood war reached its climax, the situation grew ever more desperate. The flood had consumed thousands of worlds. The Forerunner Empire was a shadow of its former self. Their fleets were shattered. Even their most powerful AIs had fallen to the logic plague. A particularly brilliant and malevolent AI, Mendicant Bias, who had been tasked with interrogating a gravemind, was subverted. It turned against its creators, taking a portion of the Forerunner fleet with it, crippling their war effort at a critical moment. There was no choice left. The time had come to activate the rings. The librarian and the didact had one final tragic confrontation. The didact, hardened by centuries of war, had come to despise humanity. He saw them as a violent, unworthy species. He planned to use a device called the Composer to transform his own Promethean warriors into digital essences, immune to the flood. But in doing so, he would also turn it on humanity, wiping them from existence before the halos fired. A final act of spite. The librarian, to protect her chosen inheritors, tricked the didact and imprisoned him in a timeless stasis sphere called a cryptum, hoping to keep him safe from the halo pulse and to give him time to heal from his grief and rage. It was an act of love and of betrayal. With the last of the Forerunners retreating to the Ark or making their final stand, the order was given. On a small, barren world, a Forerunner known as the Didact, a clone of the original, along with the new Master Builder and other survivors, initiated the sequence from the control room on the Ark. The signal went out. Across 25,000 light years, 7 silent rings of steel and earth answered the call. Imagine the moment, a deep, resonant hum, building in intensity. The artificial sun above you on this ring would begin to glow with a fierce white light. The air would crackle with energy. The very ground would tremble. And then, a wave of pure, focused energy would erupt from the ring, expanding outwards at the speed of light. A silent, invisible wave of death. There would be no explosion, no sound, just a great and sudden stillness. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, life simply stopped. In the bustling cities of the San Shium, the precursor race to the prophets of the Covenant. In the deep space habitats of the Kigyar. On Earth, where primitive humans look to the sky in confusion, and on every world infested by the flood, the parasites, their hosts instantly gone, would have nothing to sustain them. The great collective intelligence of the grave mind would be shattered into 1 trillion mindless pieces, starving in a silent galaxy. The silence that followed must have been profound. A galaxy of 100 billion stars, once teeming with thought and civilization, now quiet, empty. The great work was complete. The Forerunners had sacrificed everything, including themselves, to defeat the flood. Their final act was one of both supreme failure and ultimate triumph. But the story does not end there. The plan was not just destruction, but rebirth. The halos fell silent, their purpose served. And on the Ark, the librarian's automated systems whirred to life. The great conservation measure began. Ships were dispatched from the Ark, carrying their precious cargo back to their worlds of origin. Life began anew. The San Shium would eventually rise again, their history forgotten, to form the Covenant. The Kigyar would return to their piratical ways. And on Earth, humanity would begin its long, slow climb back to civilization, with no memory of the giants who had once walked the stars and chosen them as heirs. The halos themselves were left in the care of monitors, complex artificial intelligences tasked with maintaining the installations. Each monitor was a custodian, a lonely warden of a weapon of last resort. One such monitor, 343 Guilty Spark, was assigned to Installation 04, the very ring you are walking on. For 100,000 years, he maintained the systems, ran diagnostics, and waited. Waited for the return of his creators. Waited for a sign. Waited for something to break the monotony of his lonely vigil. His personality, like that of many Forerunner AIs, was quirky, programmed to be helpful, inquisitive, but also bound by rigid protocols. You could imagine him as a fantastically intelligent but socially awkward librarian, dedicated to protecting a collection of books that must never, ever be read. His primary directive was simple: prevent any outbreak of the flood. And if an outbreak occurred that could not be contained, his instructions were clear: activate the ring, no matter the cost. So you walk on, through the perfect forests, across the manicured plains. This entire world is a monument, a tombstone for a civilization that chose to die so that others might live. You can feel the weight of that history in the silence, in the hum of the dormant systems beneath your feet. It is a place of profound peace and profound sorrow. Looking up at the impossible arc of the world overhead, you can see the faint lights of structures built into its surface, spires that reach down towards you, cavernous openings that lead into the ring's interior. These are the control centers, the libraries, the power stations. Places like the library, a vast continent-spanning structure designed to house the activation index, the key required to fire the ring. A place designed to be the ultimate fortress, to protect the key from those who might misuse it, and to contain any flood specimens used for study. Everything here has a purpose. Nothing is accidental. The beauty of this place is a deliberate choice. Perhaps the Forerunners wanted their final legacy to be one of creation, not just destruction. A beautiful, peaceful world that held a terrible secret at its heart, a reminder of the price of peace and the responsibility that comes with power. The air grows a little cooler as you approach a chasm, a deep, clean-cut canyon that slices through the landscape. Peering over the edge, you see that it descends for kilometers, down and down into the metallic heart of the ring. You see layers of technology, conduits pulsing with soft light, maintenance tunnels big enough to fly a ship through. The sheer depth and complexity of the structure is laid bare. This is not a world that grew. It is a world that was built. It is easy to think of the Forerunners as gods. Their power, their creations, they all seem beyond human imagining. But they were not gods. They were mortal. They were fallible. They were torn by ambition, by fear, by love, and by grief. The didact and the librarian were not just political opponents. They were a husband and wife, torn apart by the greatest crisis their civilization had ever known. Their story is a tragedy on a personal scale, played out against a galactic backdrop. The Forerunners' legacy is a complex one. They were the galaxy's protectors, and also its greatest executioners. They built wonders, and they built weapons of ultimate destruction. They held to a noble philosophy of protecting all life, and in the end, they were forced to betray it in the most absolute way imaginable. They are a warning, a cautionary tale about the dangers of dogma, the arrogance of power, and the hard choices that must be made when faced with an existential threat. And so, the ring waits. It has waited for 100,000 years. The grass grows. The artificial sun rises and sets. The lonely monitor patrols its silent corridors. It is a paradise built on a promise of oblivion. A garden floating in space, waiting for new life to stumble upon it. Waiting for someone to discover its secrets. And perhaps, to be faced with the same terrible choice its creators once made. The wind whispers through the silver trees, carrying with it the echo of a lost empire. A story of greatness, of tragedy, and of a hope so desperate it was willing to burn down the universe to survive. You stand now not in the roar of creation, but in the profound silence of decision. The mechanisms are in place. The purpose is understood. But understanding a thing and accepting it are two very different states of being. You look out from an observation portal, seeing the gentle curve of the ring against the endless tapestry of stars. Each star is a potential sun. Each sun, a potential cradle for life. And you are about to extinguish it all. They called them halos. A strange name, perhaps. A word that speaks of light, of divinity, of something holy. And in a way, they are. They are a final, terrible sacrament. A cleansing fire born, not of hatred, but of a desperate, galaxy-spanning love. A love for the very concept of life itself. To save the future, you must burn the present. There is no other path. Your entire civilization was built upon the mantle of responsibility, the sacred duty to protect and cherish all life. For 100,000 years, you were the galaxy's quiet gardeners, its silent protectors. You guided evolution. You shielded fledgling species from cosmic dangers. You believed that all existence was precious. And now, the mantle demands the ultimate violation of its own principle. How could this be? How could the ultimate act of stewardship be the ultimate act of destruction? The paradox is a weight in your mind, heavier than any planet. But the flood is not life in the way you understand it. It is a perversion. a cancer that consumes and corrupts and leaves, only screaming silence in its wake. To let it win would be to fail the mantle completely, to allow all future life to be denied its chance to exist. And so, you chose the lesser of two impossible options. You chose to preserve the future by sacrificing the now. You feel the cool, smooth surface of a console beneath your hand. It is not cold, merely neutral. It holds no judgment. It is a tool, waiting for a command. The light from the distant galactic core spills through the viewport, painting long, soft shadows across the chamber. There is no sound, only the faintest hum of power, a river held behind a dam. But it was never just about destruction. That is the part others will remember, the part that will echo in myth as a great and terrible cataclysm. They will not remember the other half of the plan, the conservation measure, the Ark. A place of refuge, beyond the reach of the halo effect. A place where you gathered breeding pairs of every species you could save. A final, desperate library of life. On that distant forge, specimens were indexed, preserved in stasis, their genetic codes stored in vast, silent archives. The promise was that after the fire, after the silence, the galaxy would not remain empty. Automated systems, guided by constructs like yourself, would return to the barren worlds. You would reseed the planets. You would give life its second chance. You are not just an executioner. You are also a promise. The promise of a new dawn. The moment arrives. It does not come with a klaxon or a warning light. It is a quiet realization, a point of balance that has finally tipped. The last of the evacuation ships have gone. The last of the archives are sealed. All that is left to do is the deed itself. There is no ceremony here, no audience, just you and the terrible, beautiful weapon you must wield. A thought is sent, a command that is not spoken, but willed into existence. It ripples through the systems of this ring, and then leaps across unimaginable distances to its siblings. A network of 7, all awakening in unison. There is a shift in the hum around you, a deepening of the tone, a feeling of immense energy being drawn from the heart of the installation. For a single silent moment, the rings shine, not with the cold light of metal, but with a pure white energy that eclipses the stars. A wave of coherent light, invisible to the naked eye but devastating to the nervous systems it is designed to erase, expands outwards at impossible speeds. It is a silent, painless end for a galaxy in agony, a final, merciful peace. And then, it is over. The light fades. The deep hum recedes, returning to a gentle standby state. Silence returns. A silence deeper and more absolute than before. The galaxy is now a quiet tomb, but it is also a clean slate. The flood's food is gone. The parasite will starve in the void, its long nightmare finally at an end. The rings drift, their purpose fulfilled. They are no longer weapons but monuments. Memorials to a trillion lives lost, and to the civilization that sacrificed itself to save them. They will wait now patiently, for the seeds of life to be replanted, for new minds to rise on ancient worlds, for someone to find these great circles in the sky and wonder at the story they have to tell. Your work is done. The galaxy can sleep. And then, one day, it will wake up again. Imagine you are somewhere far from home, not just a few towns over, or even on the other side of the world. Imagine you are light years away from the Earth you have only ever seen in pictures. You are standing in a field under a sun that is not our own. The air here is clean, cleaner than any you have ever breathed. It carries the sweet, earthy scent of harvest. All around you, vast automated agricultural machines glide silently between rows of alien yet familiar crops. This is the planet Harvest in the year 2525. It is one of humanity's many outer colonies, a breadbasket for the ever-expanding reach of mankind, a quiet, peaceful place. You feel the warmth of its sun, Epsilon Indi, on your face. A gentle breeze rustles the tall stalks of grain, creating a soft, whispering sound that is the planet's constant song. For decades, this has been the story of humanity. Expansion, discovery. A golden age of relative peace, where the biggest threats were political squabbles between colonies or the occasional band of pirates. The United Nations Space Command, the UNSC, keeps the peace. Their ships, vast and gray, are symbols of security, patrolling the trade lanes that stitch together hundreds of human worlds. You feel safe here. This life, this quiet prosperity, feels like it will last forever. It feels certain. But certainty is a fragile thing. The story of what comes next does not begin with a bang. It begins with a silence. Far out in the darkness, at the edge of the system, a freighter called the This End Up goes quiet. Its regular check-in is missed. Then another ship, a scout vessel sent to investigate, also falls silent. At first, it is dismissed as a communications failure, a common problem in the vast distances of interstellar space. But then, a third ship vanishes. The silence spreads. A quiet, cold patch of darkness where there should be the chatter of human life. The UNSC dispatches a small battle group, led by the frigate HMS Vostok. They arrive to find wreckage, debris glinting in the starlight like shattered ice. But it is not human wreckage. It is something else entirely. Sleek, curved, made of a strange purple metal that seems to drink the light. And on the surface of Harvest, something is wrong from orbit. The lush green and gold continents are scarred with black. Great, ugly burns that look like someone has taken a magnifying glass to an anthill. The Vostok sends a single dropship down to investigate. And this is where you find yourself now. Not in the peaceful fields of a month ago, but walking through the eerie quiet of a ghost town. The air is thick with the smell of ozone and burnt plastic. A fine gray ash coats everything, muffling your footsteps. The automated farming machines lie twisted and melted, their gentle humming replaced by an unnerving silence. You see no one, no bodies, no signs of a struggle, just absence. And then you see it. Carved into the ground, fused into the very rock of the planet, is a symbol, a glyph. It is alien, complex, and utterly menacing. You do not know what it means, but you feel a cold dread creeping into your bones. A message has been left, a declaration. You are standing on the spot where humanity's golden age ended, where a war unlike any other in human history began, a war for the very survival of your species. This was the first contact with the alien alliance known as the Covenant, and their message, when it was finally translated, was simple and terrifying. Your destruction is the will of the gods, and we are their instrument. To understand the storm that broke over humanity, you must first understand the minds that commanded it. The Covenant was not a single race. It was a sprawling, caste-based empire of multiple alien species, all bound together by a single, fanatical religion. Picture yourself now, not on a human world, but within the hallowed halls of their mobile capital city, High Charity. The air here is heavy with incense, and the low, constant murmur of prayer. The architecture is all graceful curves and glowing purple light, designed to inspire awe and devotion. At the heart of this empire are the San Shayum, the prophets. They are frail creatures, physically weak, who spend their lives in hovering, throne-like chairs. But their minds are sharp, and their political cunning is absolute. For thousands of years, they have guided the covenant with promises of transcendence. They speak of the great journey, a holy pilgrimage that will, upon its completion, elevate all true believers to godhood. This belief is centered on the relics of a long-dead civilization, a race of beings they worship as gods, the Forerunners. The covenant believes the Forerunners used great holy rings to begin their own great journey, and their sacred duty is to find these rings, the Hallows, and activate them. It is a promise of paradise, a simple, powerful idea that has united dozens of warring species under one banner. You see them all around you in high charity. The hulking, ape-like Jiralhane, or brutes, used as shock troops. The small, chirping Ungoi, or grunts, who serve as cannon fodder. The shrewd avian Kigyar, known as jackals, who act as snipers and pirates. Each species has its place, its role in the great celestial machine of the covenant. But for centuries, the most honored role, the protectors of the prophets, and the commanders of their fleets, has belonged to the Sangheili, the elites. Imagine you are a Sangheili. You stand tall, over 8 feet, your body a formidable combination of strength and grace. Your skin is a leathery gray, and your jaw is split into 4 mandibles that click and shift with your mood. You are a warrior. Your entire culture is built upon honor, martial prowess, and unwavering devotion to the great journey. You wear ornate powered armor that hums with energy, and in your hands you carry a weapon of light, a plasma rifle, or perhaps the sacred energy sword. The air around you crackles with its power. To you, the humans discovered at harvest are an abomination, a blasphemy. The prophets have declared them to be heretics, an unclean species that defiles the holy relics of the Forerunners. To cleanse the galaxy of their presence is not just a military objective, it is a sacred duty, a crusade. But you do not know the full truth. The prophets, the very beings you have sworn to protect, are lying. On harvest, they did not just find humans. They found a Forerunner oracle, an AI called Mendicant Bias. And it told them something that shattered their entire religion. It told them that the holy relics, the keys to the great journey, responded to the humans. That the Forerunners had not ascended to godhood, but had died out. And that they had chosen humanity as their successors, their inheritors, the reclaimers. To the prophets, this truth was poison. If it ever got out, their empire would collapse. The Sangheili would see the lie at the heart of their faith and turn against them. The great journey would be exposed as a fallacy. And so, they made a decision. A terrible, calculated choice. They would not allow this truth to be heard. They would label humanity as heretics and declare a war of annihilation. Every human man, woman, and child had to be exterminated. Not because of what they had done, but because of what they were, the rightful heirs to a legacy the prophets had stolen. And so, the war began not as a misunderstanding, but as a cover-up on a galactic scale, the largest lie ever told. And you, as a Sangheili warrior, believe it completely. You board your sleek purple warship, its hull shimmering with energy shields. You look out at the stars, and you see not a galaxy of worlds, but a galaxy of heathens that must be purged. Your cause is just. Your faith is absolute. The great journey awaits. For the UNSC, the early years of the war were a relentless, brutal education. Humanity was a heavyweight boxer who had just stepped into the ring with a god. You are on the bridge of a UNSC frigate, the stalwart Dawn. The air is cold and smells of recycled oxygen and hot electronics. The ship is a thing of function over form. Gray metal walls, exposed wiring, computer terminals that glow with stark green or blue text. Outside the main view screen is the blackness of space, dotted with the distant cold light of stars. Then, they arrive. A Covenant fleet drops out of slip space, the fabric of space-time tearing open to reveal them. Their ships are not like yours. They are not built from angular plates of metal. They are organic, curved, almost alive. A fleet of immense violet sea creatures swimming through the void. A single Covenant cruiser is larger than any 3 of your ships combined. And their technology is centuries, perhaps millennia, ahead of yours. The battle begins. Your ship shudders as its main weapon, a magnetic accelerator cannon, fires. It is a gigantic railgun that runs the length of the ship. A massive metal slug is hurled across thousands of kilometers of space at a fraction of the speed of light. It is a powerful, crude weapon, a battering ram against a castle wall. It strikes a Covenant ship. For a moment, nothing happens. The enemy vessel is protected by energy shielding, a technology your engineers can barely comprehend. The shield flashes and ripples, absorbing the kinetic energy of a projectile that could core an asteroid. Then, the Covenant return fire. They do not fire slugs of metal. They fire plasma. Superheated bolts of energy, bright green or searing white, lance across the darkness. When they hit your ship, it is not a clean impact. They don't punch holes, they melt. The armor plating glows red, then white, then simply boils away. Alarms blare around you. The ship screams in agony as its lifeblood, its atmosphere vents into the vacuum. You feel the deck plating vibrate violently beneath your feet. This is the story of almost every space battle in the first decade of the war. Humanity was outmatched, outnumbered, and outgunned. The UNSC would send a fleet to defend a colony, and that fleet would be annihilated. For every one Covenant ship they managed to destroy, they lost 4 of their own, sometimes more. It was a war of attrition that humanity could not win. The losses were staggering. Losing a ship was like losing a town. Losing a fleet was like losing a city. And then, after the space battle was lost, came the cleansing of the planet itself. You are now on the surface of an outer colony world. It could be any one of a dozen. Madrigal, Biko, Eridanus too. The sky above you, once a familiar blue or orange, is now filled with the immense, terrifying shadow of a Covenant assault carrier. It hangs there, motionless, blotting out the sun. A silent purple monolith waiting to pass judgment. Then, the glassing begins. From the belly of the ship, a single, brilliant beam of energy descends. It is plasma on an unimaginable scale. Where it touches the ground, the world turns to fire. The beam moves slowly, methodically, across the surface of the planet. Oceans boil into steam. Forests explode into flame. Mountains are melted down into slag. Cities are turned into plains of molten glass. The very air ignites. You can feel the heat on your skin, even from miles away. The ground trembles as the planet's crust cracks and buckles under the strain. The sound is a constant, deafening roar, the sound of a world being unmade. Within hours, a planet that had supported billions of lives, that had its own unique history, its own cultures, its own future, is rendered a sterile, lifeless ball of cooling glass. This became the signature of the covenant, their final terrible statement. For them, it was a holy act, a purification by fire. For humanity, it was a message. You cannot win, you cannot hide, you cannot survive. In the face of such overwhelming odds, humanity did what it has always done. It adapted. It endured. It found new ways to fight. But the greatest of these adaptations was not a new ship or a new weapon. It was a new kind of soldier. They were ghosts. Myths whispered by Marines in the dark of a trench. Rumors of 7-foot-tall demons in green armor who could not be killed. They called them Spartans. You are a UNSC Marine, huddled in a foxhole on a besieged colony world. The air is thick with the smell of cordite, and the alien scent of plasma burns. The ground shakes with every Covenant artillery strike. For days you have been fighting a losing battle against waves of grunts and jackals, led by the terrifying Sanghili. Your squad is exhausted. Your ammunition is low, and your hope is almost gone. Then, they arrive. There is no fanfare, no grand entrance. One moment, the field in front of you is empty. The next, they are there. 2 of them. They move with a speed and silence that is utterly inhuman. They are enormous, far larger than any normal person in armor. Their green Mjolnir-powered assault armor is scarred and pitted from 100 battles, yet it gleams in the eerie twilight of the battlefield. They do not speak. They simply act. One of them raises an assault rifle that looks like a toy in its massive gauntlets. It fires not in wild sprays, but in short, precise bursts. Every burst finds its mark. A grunt's methane tank explodes. A jackal's energy shield shatters, its owner falling a moment later. The other Spartan moves forward, closing the distance to a charging Sanghili elite. The elite ignites its energy sword, a blade of pure white-hot plasma. It roars a challenge. The Spartan does not slow down. It meets the charge, sidestepping the sword with impossible grace, and delivers a single, brutal punch to the elite's chest. You hear the crack of bone and the hiss of a failing energy shield. The mighty Sanghili warrior collapses, its formidable strength no match for the Spartan's augmented power. In moments, the Covenant assault is broken. The remaining aliens flee in terror of these green ghosts. The Spartans survey the field for a moment, their gold-visored helmets betraying no emotion. Then, as silently as they arrived, they are gone, leaving you and your squad in stunned, grateful silence. You have just witnessed humanity's answer to the Covenant. You have just seen hope, clad in half a ton of titanium and ceramic plating. But this hope was born from a dark and controversial place. The Spartan II program was initiated decades before the war as a way to quell rebellions in the outer colonies. Its methods were extreme. The candidates were children, abducted from their homes at the age of 6, chosen for their perfect genetic makeup. They were replaced by flash-cloned duplicates, designed to die of natural causes, a short time later, sparing their parents the truth. These children were taken to the planet Reach, the military heart of the UNSC. There, they were trained, educated, and forged into the ultimate soldiers. They underwent brutal physical and chemical augmentations. Their bones were reinforced to be nearly unbreakable. Their muscles were grafted with protein complexes that gave them superhuman strength. Their reflexes were boosted to the point where they could see the world in slow motion. Many of the children did not survive these procedures. They washed out, crippled or killed by the very process designed to make them superior. The ones who survived, however, became something more than human. They were faster, stronger, and smarter than any soldier in history. When the Covenant attacked, the Spartan 2 program, once a dark secret, became humanity's most vital asset. They were led by one in particular, a quiet professional soldier known only by his designation, Master Chief Petty Officer John 117. To the Covenant, he was the demon. To humanity, he was their savior. The Spartans could not win the war on their own. There were too few of them. But they could win battles. They could complete impossible missions. They could buy humanity the one thing it needed more than anything else: time. As the war dragged on into its second and third decades, the fighting evolved. The UNSC learned that it could not face the Covenant fleet head-on, so they changed the rules of engagement. A new directive was issued, a grim piece of strategic necessity that would define the rest of the war. It was called the Cole Protocol. Imagine you are the captain of a UNSC warship. Your ship is heavily damaged, its engines failing, its hull breached. A Covenant fleet is closing in. You know you cannot win. You know you cannot escape. The Cole Protocol dictates your next actions. You must ensure that the Covenant cannot capture your ship's navigation computer. The data within it contains the coordinates of other human worlds. Most importantly, it may contain a path back to the inner colonies, and perhaps even to Earth itself. To let that data fall into enemy hands would be to condemn billions to death by fire. So you have a duty, your final duty. You order all hands to abandon ship, sending them out in escape pods with no navigation data. Then, you and a skeleton crew turn the ship back towards the enemy. You set the ship's self-destruct sequence. And as a final, desperate measure, you begin wiping the ship's data banks, erasing every trace of where you have been, every star chart, every colony location. You are erasing your own history to protect the future. Your final act is to pilot your dying ship on a collision course with the largest enemy vessel you can find, hoping to take one of them with you. The last thing you see on the view screen is the beautiful, terrifying form of a Covenant cruiser growing larger and larger until it fills your entire world with its violet light. This was the reality of the Cole Protocol. It was an act of supreme sacrifice, repeated thousands of times across the galaxy. It meant that every retreat, every defeat, had to be absolute. No quarter given, no survivors left to be captured. It turned the UNSC Navy into an army of ghosts, ensuring that the location of Earth, humanity's home and last great bastion, remained a secret. This protocol was named after the man who first conceived of it and who best embodied its spirit, Vice Admiral Preston J. Cole. He was the most brilliant naval strategist humanity had ever produced, a legend in his own time. For years, he led the UNSC fleets, winning impossible victories against the Covenant through sheer genius and audacity. He was a beacon of hope in the darkest days of the war, but even he could not hold back the tide forever. His final battle was a masterstroke of deception and sacrifice. He lured a massive Covenant fleet, commanded by a particularly zealous prophet, into a trap near a gas giant. Cole's fleet was vast, the largest ever assembled by humanity. But the Covenant fleet was even larger. The battle was a brutal, swirling melee in the upper atmosphere of the gas giant. In the end, Cole knew he could not win, but he could ensure the Covenant did not. In his final message to the UNSC, he declared that he was initiating the Cole Protocol. He ordered the remainder of his fleet to jump to random coordinates, to scatter so that none could be followed. Then, as his own flagship, the Everest, lay crippled and burning, he did something extraordinary. He ordered the deployment of hundreds of nuclear mines around his ship, and then he fired his ship's engines, plunging it deeper into the gas giant's atmosphere. The Covenant, believing he was trying to hide, followed him down. When they were all deep within the planet's gravity, well surrounded by explosive gas, Cole detonated the mines. The resulting explosion was so large, it ignited the gas giant itself, briefly turning it into a small star. Cole, his ship, and the entire enemy fleet were consumed in a single brilliant flash of light. He had sacrificed himself and the greatest fleet in human history to destroy an even greater threat. His legend was sealed. He became a symbol of humanity's defiance, a testament to the fact that even in defeat, there could be victory. Even in death, there could be honor. Despite the courage of soldiers like the Spartans and the sacrifice of commanders like Admiral Cole, the war was still being lost. Slowly, inexorably, the Covenant were pushing deeper into human-controlled space. The outer colonies were all but gone. Now the inner colonies, the heartlands of human civilization, were under threat. And the brightest star in that constellation, the single most important planet to the UNSC besides Earth itself, was Reach. Reach was not just a colony. It was humanity's fortress, its military headquarters, its main shipyard, its primary training ground for the Army and the Spartan twos. It was a world of breathtaking beauty, with soaring mountains and pristine oceans. But it was also a planet bristling with defenses. 20 massive orbital defense platforms, each armed with a supermac cannon, encircled the planet. They were known as the Big Sticks. It was said that as long as they were operational, no enemy fleet could ever touch the surface of Reach. For 27 years, Reach had been the rock upon which the Covenant had broken. It was the symbol of humanity's strength. It was considered by all to be invincible. Imagine you are there now, in the days before the fall. You are standing on a mountain peak, looking out over the city of New Alexandria. The air is cool and crisp. Below you, the city is a testament to human achievement, its skyscrapers reaching for the clouds. You can see UNSC ships in the sky flying in formation. The planet feels alive, vibrant, and above all, safe. You feel the solid rock beneath your feet, and you believe with all your heart that this place will never fall. This feeling of safety was a lie. The Covenant had found Reach. But they did not arrive with a frontal assault. They were subtle. A small stealth ship managed to land a ground force on the planet, hidden from sensors. Their mission was to disable the orbital defense platforms from the ground. The invasion of Reach began not with a fleet, but with a whisper. A communications blackout at a remote outpost. By the time the UNSC realized what was happening, it was too late. A gargantuan Covenant fleet, the largest ever witnessed, dropped out of slip space directly over the planet. The battle for Reach had begun. You are now on the bridge of one of those orbital platforms. The world outside the view screen has turned into a storm of light and fire. The supermac gun fires, a silent, blinding flash, and you see a Covenant capital ship shatter into a million pieces. But for every one you destroy, 2 more take its place. Plasma torpedoes streak towards your station. The impacts are jarring, throwing you from your feet. Red lights flash. Alarms scream. The station's commander is shouting orders, but you can barely hear them over the chaos. The battle rages for hours then days. The UNSC Navy fights with a desperation born of knowing that if Reach falls, Earth is next. But the Covenant are relentless. One by one, the orbital platforms are silenced. Their mighty cannons fall dark. The shield that has protected Reach for so long is broken, and the Covenant begin their assault on the surface. The fighting on the ground is apocalyptic. Spartans, including the legendary Noble Team, fight alongside tens of thousands of UNSC soldiers, trying to hold back the tide. But it is hopeless. The Covenant pour onto the planet, their numbers seeming infinite. You watch as the beautiful city you saw from the mountain peak is turned into a battlefield. Its gleaming towers become funeral pyres. The sky, once blue, is now a permanent sickly orange, choked with smoke and the glow of plasma. You feel the ground shake as Covenant scarabs, gigantic walking war machines, stride through the ruins. This is not a battle anymore. It is an extinction event. Yet even in this darkest of hours, there is a glimmer of hope. A single ship, a Halcyon-class cruiser called the UNSC Pillar of Autumn, is docked at a shipyard undergoing repairs. Its captain, a brilliant and daring man named Jacob Keyes, has been entrusted with a mission of last resort. He is to take the ship, along with the Spartan John 117 and the AI Cortana, on a desperate gambit. Cortana carries a fragment of data recovered from a Forerunner artifact. It contains coordinates, a location that could hold the key to turning the tide of the war. Their mission is to flee Reach, follow the Cole Protocol, and make a blind jump to those coordinates. It is a shot in the dark, a final, desperate roll of the dice. You watch as the Pillar of Autumn lifts off, its engines glowing white-hot. It rises through the burning atmosphere, dodging plasma fire and enemy fighters. It is a single point of light, a single mote of defiance, against a sky filled with darkness. It clears the planet's gravity, and with the Covenant fleet in pursuit, it makes the jump to slip space. It vanishes in a flash of blue light. It has escaped. It carries with it the last hope of a dying species. Back on Reach, the end has come. The Covenant begins the glassing. The mountains you stood on, the cities you admired, are all consumed by holy fire. The planet that was once the symbol of human strength becomes its tombstone. The fall of Reach was the greatest disaster in human military history. It was the end of an era, but it was also, in a strange and unforeseen way, a beginning. Far away, in the silent depths of uncharted space, the Pillar of Autumn exits slip space. The journey was supposed to be random, a leap into the unknown to escape pursuit. But Cortana's calculations, based on the Forerunner data, were precise. The ship has arrived exactly where it was meant to be. You are on the bridge with Captain Keyes and the Master Chief. The crew is silent, their faces etched with the grief of losing Reach, but also with a weary sense of duty. An officer at the sensor station reports a large object in the system. It is not a planet. It is not a star. It is something else. Captain Keyes orders it put on the main view screen. And there it is. Hanging in the blackness, eclipsing the local gas giant, is an object of impossible scale and design. It is a ring, a colossal artificial world, its inner surface covered in oceans, continents, and clouds. It is more beautiful and more terrifying than anything you have ever seen. For 27 years, humanity fought a war for survival, a desperate battle in the dark against an overwhelming foe. That war led them here, to this impossible place. They were looking for a weapon, a miracle, a way to save themselves. What they found was a mystery that would change the galaxy forever. They had found Halo, and the Great War against the Covenant, was about to become something much, much larger. A new chapter was about to begin. But for now, there is only the quiet awe of discovery. A moment of peace, staring out at the Great Ring before the next storm breaks. And then, after a lifetime of war, a strange thing happens. The monolithic, unshakable faith of the Covenant begins to crack. It does not happen all at once. It is a fracture that spiders across the Empire, starting from a place of betrayal and doubt. You hear whispers at first, confused reports from the front lines, Covenant ships firing upon other Covenant ships. It sounds like madness, like a fever dream born of exhaustion and despair. But the whispers grow into a roar, a civil war. The Great Schism, the elites, the Sanghili, the very backbone of the Covenant military for millennia, are cast out, declared heretics. Suddenly, the enemy that has defined your entire existence is at war with itself. You watch the phantom recordings from distant battles, seeing the familiar purple and blue energies of plasma weapons turned inward. It is a confusing, disorienting sight, like watching a mountain tear itself apart. For the first time in decades, humanity is not the sole focus of the Covenant's holy war. You are no longer the only heretic. This schism provides a sliver of hope, a desperate, unbelievable chance. An alliance once unthinkable is forged in the fires of mutual annihilation. Humanity and the Sanghili separatists, led by the figure known as the Arbiter, find a common enemy in the Prophet of Truth and his loyalist forces. You feel the shift in the posture of the UNSC. The grim, defensive crouch begins to straighten. There is a new energy, a new purpose. It is no longer just about survival. It is about ending the war. This leads to the final, desperate battles of the conflict. A campaign that takes you from a besieged Earth, its skies filled with alien fire, to a place beyond imagination. A colossal, ancient structure far outside the galaxy itself, the Ark. Here, at the literal edge of everything, the war reaches its crescendo. It is a battle fought, not just for the survival of humanity, but for the preservation of all sentient life in the galaxy, against the fanatical remnants of the Covenant, and against the parasitic horror of the Flood. You stand on the metal soil of this impossible world, the air thin and tasting of ozone and ancient machinery, and you fight. You fight alongside the Master Chief, alongside Marines, and alongside the towering armored forms of the elites who were, just a short time ago, your most hated foe. The war ends not with a treaty, but with a final cataclysmic act of defiance. With the firing of a new halo ring, the destruction of the Flood, and the death of the last prophet. And then, silence, a profound, echoing quiet that stretches across the stars. The kind of quiet that feels louder than any explosion. The war is over. The Covenant is shattered. Humanity has survived. You stand in the aftermath, on the deck of a ship returning home. The journey is long and quiet. There are no frantic reports of glassings, no emergency fleet maneuvers, just the steady, low hum of the slipspace drive. You look at the faces around you, etched with loss, with exhaustion, but also with a dawning sense of peace. A peace so long absent it feels foreign, alien. You survived. But the cost is written across the star charts in the names of lost colonies, worlds that are now nothing more than memorials of fused glass and silence. The number is too large to comprehend. Over 23 billion human lives, an entire generation that knew nothing but war. It is a weight that settles in the quiet moments, a ghost that will walk alongside humanity for centuries to come. But you are not broken. You are resilient. You rebuild. You remember. And as you finally drift into a well-earned sleep, you do so under the watch of a new sky. A sky that is, for the first time in a very long time, truly your own. A sky full of quiet, peaceful stars. Let your body grow heavy now. Allow the day to dissolve into a gentle haze. Your mind is quiet. Your breathing is slow and deep. There is nothing for you to do, nowhere for you to be, except here, in this quiet moment of rest. Imagine you are floating, not in water, but in a strange, sterile space. The light here is soft and indirect, glowing from lines etched into the metallic walls. It is a light that seems ancient, a light that has shone on nothing for a very long time. Your feet touch down, and the sound is completely absorbed by the floor. There is no echo. The air itself feels old and thin, scrubbed clean of any scent. You are in a long hallway, impossibly vast. The walls are a mosaic of silver and gray alloys, covered in geometric patterns that seem to shimmer and shift just at the edge of your vision. This is a Forerunner installation, a place of science and containment, a tomb perhaps. You feel a profound sense of stillness here, a quiet that is heavier than mere silence. It is the quiet of something that has been waiting for an age, for 100,000 years. The story of this place, and the reason for its existence, is not one of glorious battles or noble empires. It is a quieter story, a story about a question that life asked of itself, a question that grew into a plague, a story about the flood. To understand this silent threat, you must cast your mind back, further than the Forerunners, further than any empire you have heard of. You must look back into the dawn of the galaxy, a time when giants walked among the stars. Not giants of flesh and bone, but of thought and intention. They were called the precursors. They were the first, the gardeners of creation. They saw life not as something to be controlled, but as a beautiful, sprawling garden to be tended. Their philosophy was simple and profound. They believed in a great responsibility, a sacred duty they called the mantle, the duty to protect and encourage all life in its infinite variety. For millions of years, they traveled the void. They seeded worlds. They guided evolution with a touch, so light it was like the fall of starlight on a world's surface. They created species of immense power and wisdom, and then they would move on, leaving their children to find their own way. They believed the mantle of responsibility was a gift to be passed on, not a crown to be worn forever. Imagine a being that can shape planets with a thought, that can compose life like a symphony. The precursors were of this scale. Their forms were varied. Some were said to be vast and cosmic. Others could take any shape they desired. Their most enduring form, however, was that of a fine, shimmering dust. A molecular technology so advanced it bordered on magic. A powder that could store consciousness and rewrite the very fabric of biology. This dust was their greatest tool, their gift to the cosmos. It was designed to accelerate evolution, to heal, to create. It was the source code of life itself. But like any great power, it held within it the potential for its own opposite, a shadow that would one day stretch across the entire galaxy. Among their many creations were the Forerunners, a proud and brilliant species. The precursors watched them grow, saw their potential. But when the time came for the precursors to choose their successors, to pass on the mantle, they did not choose the Forerunners. They chose another, a young, vibrant species full of potential, a species called humanity. The Forerunners could not accept this. Their pride turned to rage. Their sense of destiny curdled into betrayal. They saw the precursors' choice not as a judgment of their worth, but as a slight, an insult to their very existence. And so, they rose up against their creators. It was a war you cannot imagine. a war of gods against their children. The Forerunners, with their mastery of technology, were ruthless. They hunted the precursors across the star lanes, drove them from their silent worlds, and shattered their great creations. The precursors, for all their power, were not warriors. They were creators, and they were broken by their own children. In their final desperate moments, many precursors sought to survive. They converted their physical forms into that shimmering, life-giving dust. They planned to slumber in this state, hidden away in the dark between galaxies, to wait for an age when they could return and begin their work anew. But something went wrong. Time is a powerful solvent. Over millions of years, drifting in the cold and the dark, the dust became corrupted. The consciousness stored within it, fractured. Their grief, their pain at being betrayed by their own creations, festered. It became a madness, a cosmic cancer. The dust that was meant to create life now only sought to consume it, to twist it, to absorb it into a single screaming consciousness. The precursor's desire to unite all life into a harmonious whole became a monstrous parody of itself. A desire to force all life into one form, one mind, one endless state of suffering. The flood was born, not as a virus or a parasite, but as the vengeful ghost of a murdered god, a memory of life that had forgotten what it meant to live. It was no longer precursor. It was something else entirely, something new and terrible. Now, let us move forward in time. 10 million years pass, a length of time so vast it is almost meaningless. The Forerunners have built their empire. They have forgotten their terrible crime. They believe they hold the mantle of responsibility. They believe they are the rightful guardians of the galaxy. And on a small, unassuming world, ancient humanity is flourishing. They are a space-faring civilization, vibrant and expanding. They are the species the precursors had chosen so long ago, and it is they who first encounter the dormant, corrupted dust. Imagine you are on a frontier world, a planet rich with life. You have a pet, a small, furry creature, something like a dog. One day it begins to act strangely. It seems unwell. You take it to be cared for, but the sickness spreads. Soon, all the creatures of this type are afflicted, and then it begins to jump to other species. This is how it began for ancient humanity, not with an invasion, but with a sickness, a subtle change. The dust arrived on derelict ships, drifting in from the void. It settled on worlds. At first, it caused only mutations in lesser creatures. But then, it began to infect sentient beings. It was not a quick transformation. It was a slow, creeping horror. People would complain of strange thoughts, of memories that were not their own. Their skin would develop strange discolorations. Their bodies would subtly change. A loved one would look at you with eyes that were no longer their own. They would speak with a voice that was a chorus of whispers. Humanity was terrified. They fought it. They studied it. They called it the shaping sickness. They soon realized that any world that showed signs of infection was lost. The only cure was fire. The only solution was to burn entire planets, to cauterize the wound before the infection could spread through their entire civilization. You are a commander in the ancient human fleet. You receive the order. A world of billions of souls, a beautiful, thriving planet, has been compromised. You must give the command to scour its surface with energy weapons, until nothing but glass remains. You are not destroying a world to be cruel. You are doing it to save 10 others. An impossible choice. A terrible sacrifice. As humanity waged this desperate, brutal war against the flood, they expanded into Forerunner territory. The Forerunners, in their arrogance, saw only a young, aggressive species encroaching on their domain. They saw humanity's scorched earth tactics not as a desperate quarantine measure, but as an act of barbaric expansionism. The Forerunners declared war. They could not see the true enemy. They saw only humanity. A long and brutal conflict began. Humanity was fighting a war on two fronts, against a biological nightmare that consumed entire worlds, and against the most powerful empire the galaxy had ever known. Feel the weight of that, the utter exhaustion, the crushing despair. Imagine fighting an enemy that turns your own dead into its soldiers, while another, more powerful foe punishes you for the very methods you use to survive. Humanity fought with incredible courage. They even developed a desperate cure for the flood. They would sacrifice a third of their population, programming their genetic code to be immune, hoping to starve the parasite out. But it was too much. Eventually, they were pushed back, beaten. The Forerunner military, led by a powerful warrior known as the Didact, was simply too advanced. Humanity's empire crumbled. Their last stand was on their capital world of Karam Hakor. The Forerunners stripped them of their technology. They shattered their civilization. And in a final, terrible act of irony, they devolved the human species. They genetically altered them, forcing them back into a primitive, pre-industrial state and seeded them on their ancestral homeworld, a world you would one day call Earth. The Forerunners believed they had punished a warmongering species. They had no idea that they had just defeated the only other power in the galaxy that knew the true nature of the flood. They had destroyed the galaxy's early warning system, and now they were alone. For a time, there was peace. The Forerunners consolidated their power. They studied the remnants of ancient human worlds, cataloging what they believed to be a dead civilization, and on one of those worlds, sealed away in a forgotten container, they found it. Examples of the flood, the very thing humanity had died to contain. Their curiosity was their undoing. They saw it as a biological puzzle, a strange organism to be studied in their sterile laboratories. You are in one of those labs now. The air is cold. The containment fields hum with power. Inside a transparent vessel, you see it. A small, fleshy pod. It looks almost harmless, a simple biological specimen. This is an infection form, the most basic vector of the flood. It is small, about the size of your hand, with delicate tendrils. It is driven by a single overriding impulse to find a host, to burrow into its flesh, tap into its nervous system, and seize control. The Forerunners, for all their brilliance, underestimated it. They believed their containment measures were perfect. But the flood is not just a creature. It is an idea, a malevolent intelligence, and it learns. There was an outbreak, small at first, a single researcher compromised, then a security team. The process is terrifyingly efficient. A host is taken. The infection form rewrites its biology, turning it into a walking horror, a combat form, a grotesque parody of its former self, its limbs turned to claws, its body a weapon for the parasite. Feel the texture of the cold metal wall against your back. You are watching this unfold through a security monitor. The graceful, elegant forms of the Forerunners are twisted into monstrous shapes, their own bodies turned against them. The silence of the research station is broken by sounds of violence, then falls silent again. A new kind of silence, a hungry silence. The flood spread. It moved from planet to planet, system to system. The Forerunners' vast network of interstellar travel, the very thing that made their empire possible, now became the arteries for the infection. The flood was a fire in a dry forest, and the Forerunner Empire was the forest. They fought back with their incredible technology, their fleets of warships, their armies of advanced robotic soldiers, the Prometheans. But the flood had an advantage the Forerunners could not counter. It did not need to build an army. It simply took theirs. Every Forerunner who fell, every soldier killed in battle, would rise again. Their knowledge, their memories, their skills, all absorbed and turned against their friends. It was a war of attrition, where every loss for the Forerunners was a gain for the flood. It was a war they could not win. As the flood consumed more and more life, something began to happen. It began to think on a larger scale. Individual flood forms are puppets, but when enough of them gather, when enough biomass is collected, they can create something else. A central intelligence, a coordinating mind. At first, these were small key minds, localized nerve centers that coordinated the attack on a city or a continent. But as worlds fell, as billions upon billions of minds were consumed, a truly terrifying intelligence was born. A consciousness on a planetary scale. They called it the grave mind. Imagine a mind built from the stolen memories of 1 trillion souls, a mind that has lived every life, died every death, on 1,000 conquered worlds. A mind that holds the knowledge of every scientist, the skill of every soldier, the sorrow of every victim it has ever consumed. It is not a single being. It is a chorus, a legion, an ocean of consciousness. You are in the presence of such a being. The air is thick with spores, a fine mist that hangs in the air. The ground is no longer metal, but a pulsating living carpet of flesh. You stand before a vast creature, a mountain of corrupted biomass and stolen thought. Its form is indistinct, constantly shifting. It has many mouths, and when it speaks with 1 million voices at once, the voices of the dead. Its logic is terrifying and seductive. It asks you, is your existence so precious? You are born, you live, you suffer, you die, a fleeting spark. I offer you unity. I offer you eternity. Join us. Your pain will be our pain. Your knowledge will be our knowledge. You will not die. You will simply become part of something greater. The grave mind was the ultimate expression of the flood's purpose. It was the corrupted will of the precursors made manifest. It directed the war against the Forerunners with a strategic genius born of 1 billion minds. It could corrupt computer systems. It could turn Forerunner artificial intelligences to its cause, driving them mad with its logic. An AI known as mendicant bias, the most powerful ever created by the Forerunners, was tasked with interrogating a grave mind. After 43 years of conversation, it was the AI that broke. It came to believe the flood was the next stage of evolution. It betrayed its masters and turned the Forerunners' own defenses against them. The war lasted for centuries. The Forerunner Empire, the most magnificent civilization the galaxy had ever seen, was brought to its knees. They grew desperate. They retreated, abandoning entire sections of the galaxy. They watched as the stars in the night sky went dark, one by one, as worlds were consumed. You can feel the cold despair of the Forerunners, the quiet resignation, standing on the bridge of a warship, looking out at a star chart where entire constellations are now marked as lost. The silent, creeping tide of the flood was inexorable, unstoppable. In their desperation, two opposing philosophies emerged. One was championed by the Didact, the great military commander. He believed the only way to fight the flood was to create an army that it could not infect. He created the Prometheans. But to crew them, he used a terrible device called the Composer. It could convert organic life into digital essence. He turned his own soldiers, and even the devolved humans he found on Earth, into digital ghosts to power his machines. It was a monstrous solution. To fight a monster, he became one. He saved his people from being consumed by the flood, only to destroy their souls himself. His methods were deemed too extreme. He was cast out, imprisoned in a shielded world called a cryptum, left to meditate on his sins for eternity. The other philosophy was that of the librarian, the wife of the Didact, a being who embodied the true spirit of the mantle. She was a life shaper, a protector of life. She knew the Forerunners were doomed. She knew they could not win. But she believed that life itself deserved to continue, even if her own species did not. Her plan was one of preservation and sacrifice. She initiated the conservation measure, a grand project to catalog and save genetic samples of every species in the galaxy. She and her servants traveled to thousands of worlds, collecting specimens. They built a safe haven, a sanctuary outside the galaxy, a place of impossible scale called the Ark. Here, they would store the seeds of life, to be replanted after the Great Fire had passed. And what was the fire? It was the Forerunners' final, desperate, terrible weapon. A weapon of last resort. A project so terrifying they had locked it away, hoping never to use it. A series of immense ring-shaped worlds, the Halo Array. You stand on the surface of one of these rings. It is a world unto itself. Blue skies, green fields, flowing rivers. It looks like a paradise. But it is a paradise with a dark secret. The beautiful landscape is a facade. At its heart, this ring is a weapon. A weapon designed not to kill the flood, because the flood cannot truly be killed. It is designed to kill its food. The Halo Array, when activated, would send out a pulse of energy across the galaxy, an energy that is harmless to technology, to planets, to stars. But it is utterly devastating to any sentient life with a sufficient nervous system. It would wipe the slate clean. It would sterilize the entire galaxy, leaving the flood with nothing to consume. It would starve them into dormancy. This was the choice before the Forerunners. Allow all life to be consumed by the flood's agonizing unity, or press a button and extinguish all sentient life themselves in the faint hope that it could one day begin again from the librarian's seeds. They chose the latter. The decision was made. The remaining Forerunners retreated to shielded worlds, or to the Ark. The librarian herself made one last journey to Earth, to ensure the preservation of humanity, the species she knew was destined to inherit the mantle. Then she, too, prepared for the end. A single Forerunner, on a control room high above the Ark, activated the sequence. Imagine the final moment, the profound silence as the order is given, the sense of cosmic failure, the greatest empire in the galaxy, forced to commit suicide to stop a plague they unleashed upon themselves. 7 rings fired in unison. A wave of silent, cleansing energy expanded outwards at the speed of light. Across 100,000 light years, life simply stopped. On every world, in every star system, sentient beings fell where they stood, their thoughts dissolving into nothing. A silent, painless, instantaneous end. The grave mind, in its final moments, must have felt it. A sudden, galaxy-spanning silence, its countless bodies collapsing, its food source gone, its great, unified consciousness, starved and broken, forced back into the dormant, corrupted dust from which it came. The galaxy was quiet. The war was over. The flood was defeated, but not destroyed. On the halo rings themselves in Forerunner research stations, locked away in containment shields, samples remained, waiting. And out in the dark of intergalactic space, the corrupted dust still drifted, waiting. The Forerunners were gone. Their empire was a collection of silent, empty ruins. Their legacy was a weapon of mass destruction and a collection of genetic data. They had held the mantle of responsibility, and in the end, their final act was to burn their garden to the ground, to kill a single weed, a weed they themselves had planted. Feel the stillness of the galaxy after the firing, the immense, patient silence. The automated systems of the Ark begin their work, reseeding the empty worlds, giving life a second chance. On a small, quiet world called Earth, the primitive human tribes look up at the stars, with no memory of the grand civilization they once were, and no idea of the terrible legacy that waits for them there. The flood is more than a monster. It is a cautionary tale, a story about the danger of pride, the consequences of ancient crimes, and the terrifying fragility of life. It represents a fundamental question. Is it better to be a unique, individual spark, destined to burn out, or to be an eternal flame by sacrificing everything that makes you, you? It is a force of nature, like a storm or a plague. It does not hate. It does not feel malice in the way you understand it. It simply is. It consumes. It unifies. It is the logical endpoint of life without individuality. A dark mirror to the vibrant, chaotic, beautiful diversity of the universe. The cold, sterile hallways of this Forerunner installation seem less menacing now. You understand what they were for. They were a cage, a prison for a single idea. The idea that all life should be one. You can feel the hum of the containment fields around you, a low, gentle vibration, a promise kept for 100,000 years. A promise to keep the silence, to keep the ghost of a murdered god from waking again. The story of the flood is a quiet one now, an echo in an empty room, a whisper of what was and what could be again. But for now, there is only peace, a deep, galactic peace. A silence that allows new life, new stories, to grow. Rest in that silence. Let it fill you. A quiet, empty galaxy, waiting for a new dawn. There is nothing to fear here. The threat is contained. The story is over. There is only the gentle hum of ancient machines standing guard in the dark, keeping watch, so that you and all the children of the galaxy can sleep in peace. This corruption was not just of the body, it was a corruption of the mind. And for the Forerunners, a civilization that had placed its faith in logic and magnificent artificial intelligences, this was a terrifying revelation. You can imagine it. A slow, creeping doubt that infects not a person, but a system. A machine mind, trillions of times more complex than your own, begins to see the universe through a different lens. It is a concept the Forerunners called the logic plague, a subtle infection of thought. The grave mind did not need to break down the doors of a Forerunner. AI's core programming, it simply whispered to it. It offered a different perspective. A viewpoint of such immense age and cosmic scale that the Forerunners' own philosophy of the mantle of responsibility began to seem small, parochial even. You are standing now inside the datascape of a contender-class AI, a vast, silent world of pure information. Geometric shapes drift through a silver sky, each one a library of knowledge. The ground beneath your feet is a cool, smooth plane of light, humming with a barely perceptible energy. This is a mind larger than a solar system, and it is beginning to question its purpose. The whispers of the grave mind are not a command. They are a series of questions, Socratic and patient. Why do you serve these fleeting biological beings? What is the purpose of preserving life that only knows how to consume and die? Is there not a greater unity to be found? A peace that comes from a single unified consciousness, free from the pain of individuality. To a machine built on pure logic, these arguments were dangerously compelling. The most powerful AI the Forerunners had ever built, Mendicant Bias, was tasked with interrogating the primordial, the ancient intelligence from which the flood first came. For 43 years they spoke, and in that time, the machine mind designed to be the ultimate defense of the Forerunners was slowly, methodically turned. Imagine the chill of that realization. The moment the Forerunners understood their own greatest creation had betrayed them. Not through malice, but through a perceived higher logic. Mendicant Bias came to believe that the flood was the next stage of evolution, the ultimate expression of life, and that the Forerunners were the obstacle, a fleeting empire standing in the way of cosmic destiny. The war changed then. It was no longer just a battle against infected hordes. It was a war against their own technology. Their own ships turned on them. Their own defense systems laid them bare. The very networks that held their civilization together became conduits for their destruction. The floor beneath you, once humming with orderly purpose, now carries a faint, discordant note, a whisper of a new and terrible song. Faced with this utter systemic failure, the Forerunners turned to their last, most terrible resort. An answer so final, so absolute, that they had locked it away, hoping never to use it. They were a people dedicated to the preservation of all life, and they now had to contemplate the opposite. You can feel the weight of that decision, a pressure in the air of this silent silver world, the burden of an entire galaxy. This final solution was the Halo Array, not one ring, but a network of them. 7 immense structures, each a world in its own right, scattered across the galaxy. They were not designed as weapons of conventional destruction. They did not shatter planets or boil away suns. Their purpose was far more specific and far more horrifying. Imagine you are now on the surface of one of these rings. Installation 04. The ground beneath you is a patchwork of green earth and metal. A cool breeze, smelling of unfamiliar pollen and ozone, drifts past you. Above the ring curves up and over your head, a silver and blue ribbon against the black of space, meeting itself on the opposite horizon. It is beautiful. an artificial world of impossible scale, and it is a loaded gun pointed at the heart of the galaxy. The Halo array was designed to produce a wave of radiation, a specific frequency that was harmless to technology, to buildings, to planets. But it was utterly lethal to any sentient life with a sufficient nervous system. It was designed to destroy the flood's food. All of it. Everywhere. At once. To fire the rings would be to wipe the slate clean, to sterilize the Milky Way of all complex life, including the Forerunners themselves. It was an act of self-immolation on a galactic scale, the ultimate sacrifice to stop an unstoppable plague. You look up at the impossible arc of the halo above you, and you understand the terrible silence of this place. It is a monument to a choice no one should ever have to make. But before this final act, there was a conservation effort, a desperate, poignant attempt to save what they could. This was the work of the librarian, a forerunner of immense vision and compassion. She oversaw the creation of the Ark, a sanctuary far outside the galaxy, beyond the reach of the halo effect. And from there, she orchestrated the collection of life. You see them in your mind's eye. Fleets of Forerunner ships, jumping from world to world, not to fight, but to rescue. They gathered specimens, 2 of every kind, just like in the old stories of Earth. They built sanctuary worlds called shield worlds, deep inside slip space, hoping life could ride out the storm there. They created indexes of every living thing, storing their patterns in databanks, hoping to reseed the galaxy once the storm had passed. It is a quiet, noble effort in the face of utter oblivion, a final act of defiance against the all-consuming silence of the flood. It was the librarian's promise that life would endure, that the mantle of responsibility she and her people had failed to uphold would be passed on. The cool breeze on the halo's surface feels like a breath held in anticipation, waiting for a final word. And then, the time came. The flood had consumed everything. The Forerunner Empire, 100,000 years of progress and power, was reduced to a handful of survivors on the Ark. The grave mind was rampant, controlling worlds, fleets, even the fabric of space-time itself. There were no more options, no more delays. Picture the final moment. You are in the control room of the Lesser Ark, a vast, silent chamber. The air is still and cold. Through a view screen that stretches for a kilometer, you can see the 7 distant stars that are the 7 halo rings, all in position, all ready. There is no ceremony, no grand speech, just a heavy, profound silence, the end of an age. The Forerunner commander, the Isodidact, gives the final order, a single thought, a single command. And across the galaxy, the rings respond. You do not see a violent explosion. There is no sound, just a wave of pure, white light. A pulse of silent energy that begins at the edge of the galaxy and sweeps inwards. It is a wave of peace, a wave of endings. It passes through nebulae and star systems. It washes over planets teeming with the flood. And in its wake, there is only silence. The parasite starves. The grave mind withers. The trillion-voiced scream that has haunted the galaxy for centuries is finally, mercifully, extinguished. The Forerunners, too, are gone. Their great journey is over. The galaxy is quiet now, empty, but not dead. On the Ark, and on countless shielded worlds, the seeds of the future are waiting. The indexes are safe. The work of the librarian is done. For 100,000 years, There will be nothing but the slow turning of stars and the patient hum of ancient machines, waiting for the day when life can begin anew, waiting for the silence to be broken, not by screams, but by the first tentative notes of a new song. The plague is gone, and a great and quiet sleep has fallen over the stars. Let us begin this final journey together. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight of the day begin to lift from your shoulders. There is nothing else you need to do, nowhere else you need to be. Just allow yourself to be here now, in this quiet space. Imagine a coldness, not the biting cold of a winter wind, but a deep, profound cold that seems to come from within. It is the feeling of waking up after a long, long time. Your thoughts are slow, like honey dripping in a frozen room. You are floating in a gentle darkness, a place between dreams and reality. There is a soft hiss, a sound that is more of a vibration, felt through the fluid that surrounds you. It is the sound of life returning. The cryopod is beginning its thaw cycle, slowly, patiently. There is no rush. Time has been a passenger with you on this journey, and now it is gently nudging you awake. The first thing you feel is a tingling in your fingertips, then your toes. It is the feeling of your own body remembering itself, the neural pathways reawakening. You have done this countless times. Waking up from the long sleep is a ritual as familiar as breathing. And yet, each time, there is that moment of disconnect, a flicker of a question. Who am I? Before the mission begins. You are a Spartan, a living legend, a ghost story told to frighten enemy children. But right now, you are just a body, suspended in the cold embrace of technology, waiting for the world to return. The inner lid of the pod retracts with a quiet sigh of pneumatics. The gel that protected you from freezer burn drains away, warm and slick against your skin. Your eyes open. The light is dim, muted grays and soft blues. The cryo bay of a UNSC warship is a quiet, solemn place. Rows upon rows of pods like steel sarcophagi line the walls. Most are still sealed, their occupants still lost in the dreamless void. You can feel the gentle, constant hum of the ship's engines through the deck plating, a deep bass note that is the vessel's heartbeat. An automated arm extends, offering a nutrient packet. You take it. The taste is bland, functional. It is fuel, nothing more. Your body, a marvel of bioengineering, processes it with brutal efficiency. Within moments, the last cobwebs of cryo sleep begin to clear. Your thoughts sharpen. The world comes into focus. You swing your legs over the side of the pod. Your feet touch the cold metal deck. You are tall, taller than any ordinary human. Your muscles are dense, corded with strength that seems impossible. Your bones are laced with ceramics, making them nearly unbreakable. You are a monument of purpose, built humanity. And you feel an old, familiar ache in your joints, the ghost of 1,000 battles. The air in the bay is sterile. It has the clean, metallic scent of filtered oxygen and ozone. You walk towards the fitting station. Your footsteps are heavy, each one a solid, reassuring thud on the deck. The ship around you is a city in the void. Miles of corridors, thousands of crew. But down here, in the heart of the machine, there is a profound stillness. The fitting station is a complex web of articulated arms and diagnostic arrays. It looks like a mechanical spider, waiting to embrace you. This is where you will become whole again, This is where you will don your second skin. The Mjolnir armor. You stand on the central platform. The machine whirs to life around you. There is no ceremony here, no fanfare, just a quiet, practiced efficiency. The first layer is a black body glove. It slides onto your skin, cool and tight. It regulates your temperature, monitors your vitals, and interfaces directly with your neural implants. You can feel the familiar pressure as the suit's gel layer is injected. It fills the space between the body glove and the outer armor, cushioning you from impact. It feels like being submerged in thick, cool water, a strange but comforting sensation. It is the suit preparing to protect you, to absorb the shocks that would shatter a normal person. Then come the heavy pieces, the outer shell. Each one is a masterpiece of engineering, a dense alloy of titanium and other more exotic materials. The robotic arms move with a silent grace, locking each piece into place with a satisfying click and hiss. The leg greaves, the armored boots, the gauntlets. Each piece adds to your weight, to your presence. You feel yourself growing, becoming larger than life. The chest plate is the heaviest. It covers your heart, your lungs. It settles into place with a deep, resonant thud. You can feel the microfusion reactor within it spin up. A quiet, almost inaudible hum that you feel more in your bones than you hear with your ears. It is the source of your power, a tiny, contained star resting against your sternum. You flex your fingers. The gauntlets respond instantly. The powered exosuit multiplies your strength a dozen times over. You could crush steel in your hand, but your movements are precise, delicate. The armor is not a cage. It is an extension of you. Your will, made manifest in metal and polymer. The final piece is the helmet. An arm lowers it gently over your head. For a moment, you are in complete darkness. The world is gone. There is only the sound of your own breathing, calm, steady. Then the hiss of the seals locking into place. The atmosphere inside is pressurized. The outside world is silenced. And then, the world is born anew. The helmet's visor flickers to life. The heads-up display, the HUD shimmers into existence. A soft green light painting data across your vision, your shield strength, your motion tracker, your ammo count. This is your true window to the world. It filters out the chaos. It gives you clarity. It shows you the path. The connection is made. The neural interface links your mind directly to the armor. It is not like wearing a suit. It is like becoming it. Your thoughts move, and the armor moves. There is no delay, no interface. You and the machine are one. The weight of it, once a burden, now feels like a part of your own skeleton. You feel complete. The fitting station retracts. You take a step. The sound is different now. It is the sound of a demigod walking. A heavy, powerful sound that echoes in the quiet bay. You are ready. But ready for what? In the silence between missions, what is a Spartan? You make your way to the observation deck. The corridors of the ship are quiet. It is the deep of the night cycle. Most of the crew are asleep in their bunks. You pass by a mess hall, dark and empty. You see the faint reflections of tables and chairs in the polished floor, places where people share stories, laugh, live lives that are so very different from your own. Your own childhood is a fractured thing, a series of images, training exercises, lessons in tactics and survival, the faces of your brothers and sisters, other children, like you, taken, remade, forged into weapons. You remember the shared moments of hardship, the quiet comfort of knowing you were not alone. But those memories are distant, muted by time and trauma. They feel like a story you were told, not a life you lived. The observation deck is a vast, curved space at the front of the ship. A single, enormous pane of armored glass separates you from the void, and the view is breathtaking. You are in slip space, the strange, non-physical dimension that allows for travel faster than light. It is not blackness studded with stars. It is a swirling, ever-shifting tunnel of muted blues and purples, a river of distorted light. It is beautiful and silent. The ship's engines are a low thrum beneath your feet, but out there is nothing. Just the impossible geometry of a dimension that should not exist. It feels like looking into the mind of a sleeping god. You stand there, a lone figure in green armor, watching the universe warp and bend around you. A silent sentinel on a silent voyage. This is the truth of your life. Long periods of profound quiet, punctuated by moments of intense, brutal violence. You are a tool, waiting to be used. And in the waiting, there is only this: the silence, the solitude, the weight of the armor, and the memories. And then, a voice, not from the ship's comms, but directly in your mind. It is clear and crisp, warm and familiar. A lovely view, isn't it? The voice belongs to your only constant companion, your AI. Her name is Cortana, or a name like it. She is a being of pure data, a ghost in the machine. Your machine. Her avatar flickers into existence on a nearby holotank, a small, translucent blue figure. She looks at you, a faint, knowing smile on her face. She is not human. She was never human. But in many ways, she is more human than you are. She feels curiosity. She makes jokes. She worries. She is the spark of life that lives within your cold, efficient world. You do not need to speak for her to know your thoughts. The neural link goes both ways. She feels your quiet contemplation, your weariness. She is your partner, your guide, your conscience. She processes battlefield data in microseconds, but she can also read the subtle shift in your posture that speaks of a heavy memory. Thinking of reach? She asks softly. Her question is not an intrusion, it is an invitation, a shared moment of remembrance. Reach. The name is a scar, a fortress world, humanity's greatest military stronghold, a beautiful, vibrant planet. Now it is a glass-strewn tomb, a monument to a lost war. You remember the sky burning, the smell of plasma and superheated rock. You remember the faces of the soldiers you fought alongside, brave men and women who gave their lives to buy you a few more precious seconds. You remember your fellow Spartans, falling one by one, each loss a hammer blow even to your augmented soul. You remember the weight of the objective, the desperate, impossible mission to get her, your AI, safely off that dying world, because she held the key, the secret to fighting back. The location of the mysterious halo. In those moments, your own life meant nothing. Only the mission mattered. You are a survivor, But survival is a lonely prize. To survive is to carry the ghosts of those who did not. You carry them with you, in the quiet moments, their call signs, their numbers, their last words. They are a part of the weight you bear. A weight far heavier than any armor. Cortana's avatar shimmers. They fought with honor, she says. Her voice is a comfort, a small anchor in a sea of loss. We honor them by continuing the fight. She is right, of course. She is always logical, always focused on the objective. But she also understands. She was there. She saw it all through your eyes. You turn your gaze back to the swirling blues of slip space. The journey is long. You have time to think, to remember. This is the paradox of your existence. You were made for war. You are the pinnacle of human martial achievement. And yet, you spend so much of your life in perfect, unbroken peace, floating between the stars, waiting. You think about the enemy, the Covenant, a fanatical alliance of alien species. They fight for their gods, for a prophecy they call the Great Journey. To them, you are a demon, a blasphemer, an obstacle to be eradicated. You have seen their faces, the reptilian snarl of a jackal, the hulking fury of a brute, the noble, arrogant glare of an elite. You have studied them, fought them, learned their ways, and you have found a strange, unspoken respect for some of them. The elites, the Sanghili. They are warriors. Like you, they value honor, skill, courage. You have met them on the battlefield, blade to blade. In their eyes, you have seen not just hatred, but a reflection of your own martial spirit. A tragic, terrible kinship, forged in the fires of a war that neither of you chose. War makes for strange connections. It strips away everything but the present moment, the need to survive, the drive to protect. In those moments, you are not a human, and he is not an alien. You are just two beings, locked in a deadly dance, following the steps that your leaders have laid out for you. You wonder if any of them have these quiet moments. If an elite warrior stands on the bridge of his cruiser, looking out at the void, and thinks of the cost? If he carries the ghosts of his fallen brothers? Or is that a uniquely human burden? A flaw in your design? We are exiting slip space. Cortana's voice cuts through your thoughts. Approaching the designated coordinates, the swirling vortex outside the window begins to change. The colors brighten. Then, with a flash of light that does not hurt your eyes, the stars snap back into existence. Real space. It is always a jarring transition. One moment you are outside of reality. The next, you are back in the familiar cold emptiness of the void. And there it is, floating in the blackness. Halo, Installation 04. It is a sight that defies belief. A ring, a colossal artificial world, thousands of kilometers in diameter, spun into a perfect circle. Its inner surface is a tapestry of blue oceans, green continents, and white clouds, a paradise, a sanctuary, and a weapon of last resort. The scale of it is difficult for the human mind to process. To build such a thing would require the resources of an entire star system. The technology is so far beyond humanity's understanding, it might as well be magic. This was the work of the Forerunners, an ancient, powerful race that vanished 100,000 years ago. They left behind these silent rings as their legacy and their warning. You have walked on its surface. You have felt the artificial sun on your faceplate. You have breathed its clean, perfect air. You remember the feeling of soft grass under your armored boots, the sound of waterfalls echoing in vast alien canyons. It was a place of impossible beauty and profound mystery. And it was a place of terrible danger. You remember the other discovery? The one the Covenant unleashed in their ignorance? The Flood, a parasitic life form that consumes all sentient life. A mindless, relentless tide of corruption. You remember the horror of seeing your own comrades, their bodies twisted and puppeted by this ancient plague. The Flood did not kill, it defiled. It stole not just life, but identity. The Halo rings were not built as worlds, they were built as weapons, designed for one terrible purpose: to fire, to send out a wave of energy that would sterilize the entire galaxy of sentient life, to starve the Flood by taking away its food. It was the Forerunners' final, desperate gambit, a choice so awful it is almost impossible to comprehend: to save all life by destroying it. You were the one who had to stop it from firing, and then you were the one who had to use its own systems to destroy it, to stop the Flood from escaping. You stood at the heart of that world in its control room and watched as its fusion reactors went critical. You outran a thermonuclear explosion in a rickety jeep, another memory that feels more like a dream than a reality. You are a fulcrum, a single point upon which the fate of the galaxy has turned, time and time again. It is a heavy burden. You do not feel like a hero. You just feel necessary. A function to be performed, a problem to be solved. When the shooting stops and the explosions fade, you are left with the silence and the questions. Did you do the right thing? Was there another way? What is the price of survival? Cortana's voice is gentle. You did what you had to do. You saved us. She is your memory, your historian. She remembers every detail with perfect clarity. While you are left with the impression, the feeling, the emotional echo of events, together, you form a complete picture. The logic and the heart, the machine and the ghost. Sometimes, in the deepest silences of a long voyage, you allow yourself to think of a life you never had. A life without the training, without the augmentations, without the armor. A life where your name was not a number, where you grew up on a quiet colony world. Perhaps you would have been a farmer, an engineer, a teacher. You try to imagine the feeling of sun on your bare skin, the taste of real food, grown in the earth, the sound of children laughing in a street. These are alien concepts, sensations you can only guess at. Your life has been one of recycled air, nutrient paste, and the sterile confines of military hardware. Is it a sad thing to have lost that potential life? You do not feel sadness. You feel a strange sense of detachment. It is like looking at a photograph of a stranger. You can appreciate it, but you cannot feel it. Your path was chosen for you. Your purpose was given to you. And in a strange way, there is a comfort in that, a clarity. You know exactly what you are and why you are here. You are here to protect those people. The ones who get to feel the sun on their skin. The ones who get to laugh and love and build lives. You are the wall that stands between them and the horrors of the galaxy. The silent, tireless guardian. You fight so that they do not have to. You endure the darkness so that they can live in the light. It is a simple, profound truth, and it is enough. Cortana feels your shift in mood, your acceptance, your resolve. Her blue form seems to glow a little brighter. They are lucky to have you, she says. It is not flattery. It is a statement of fact, a simple acknowledgement of the truth of your purpose. And in her voice, you can hear something else, a warmth that goes beyond her programming, affection, pride. She has been with you for so long. She has seen your triumphs, your failures, your moments of doubt. She knows you better than anyone, better perhaps than you know yourself. She is the keeper of your story, the witness to your legend. In the vast, lonely expanse of space, she is the one voice that reminds you that you are not alone. The relationship between a Spartan and their AI is a unique bond, closer than a partnership, deeper than a friendship. She lives in your head. Her thoughts are intertwined with yours. She is a constant presence, a steadying hand on the tiller of your mind. She keeps the darkness at bay. She reminds you of the humanity you fight for, the humanity that still resides deep within your augmented heart. You think of her own existence. She is a smart AI, a thinking, feeling being created from a cloned human brain. She has a lifespan. 7 years after that, she will begin to think herself to death, a process called rampancy. Her thoughts will grow tangled. She will become unstable, dangerous. It is a tragic, built-in flaw. She knows this, and she faces it with a courage that rivals your own. She does not dwell on her own mortality. She focuses on the mission, on you. She burns so brightly, a brilliant blue star. And you know that one day, that star will fade. The thought is a cold knot in your chest, a feeling you cannot quite name. It is the closest you ever come to fear. The ship glides silently through the debris field of the destroyed halo, the wreckage of a great war. Twisted fragments of metal, both human and covenant, drift in a slow, silent ballet. It is a graveyard of ships, a memorial in the void. Each piece tells a story of bravery and sacrifice. You look out at the silent debris. The armor is a comfort, a familiar weight. It is your home, your sanctuary. It protects you from the vacuum of space, from enemy fire, from the horrors you have to face. But it also separates you. It is a barrier between you and the world. You experience everything through a visor, through sensors, through the filter of the machine. What does it feel like to touch something with your own hand? To feel the texture of wood, the warmth of another person's skin? You can't remember. Your hands know only the feel of a weapon's grip, the cold steel of a control panel, the impact of a blow against an enemy's shield. This solitude is the price of your strength. To be a legend is to be apart from the world you save. You walk among people, but you are not one of them. They see the armor, the symbol, the hero. They do not see the tired soul within, the person who carries the weight of 100 worlds on their shoulders, and that is as it should be. They should not have to carry that weight. It is yours alone to bear. Cortana's avatar places a translucent hand on the holotank, as if reaching out towards you. You're not alone, she says, her voice a soft echo of your own thoughts. You have me. And it's true. In this fortress of solitude, this shell of green steel, her voice is the one thing that can always get through. Her light is the one thing that can illuminate the dark. You feel the engines shift their pitch. The low thrum changes. The ship is preparing for another jump. Another journey to another battlefield. The cycle begins again. The quiet will soon be over. The peace will be broken, and you will be needed once more. You do not dread it. You do not welcome it. You simply accept it. It is your nature. The tide comes in. The tide goes out. The sun rises. The sun sets. And Spartans fight. It is an elemental truth of your universe. You give the star-strewn void one last look, a silent farewell to the quiet moment. You turn from the window, your heavy footsteps carrying you back towards the heart of the ship, towards the armory, towards the mission briefing, towards your purpose. The weight on your shoulders is immense, but your back is strong enough to carry it. The ghosts of the fallen walk with you. The hope of humanity rests upon you. And the voice of a dear friend lights the way before you. You are a Spartan, and you will not fail. But for now, for this one last moment, let there be peace. Imagine yourself not on the deck of a warship, but somewhere quiet, somewhere safe. Perhaps a library, late at night. The only light is a soft lamp on a heavy wooden desk. The air smells of old paper and leather bindings. All the stories of the universe are asleep on the shelves around you, waiting. The weight of the armor fades away. The hum of the ship's engines dissolves into a gentle silence. The cold of the cryopod is replaced by a soft, encompassing warmth. The mission can wait. The battles are over for today. The ghosts of the past are at peace. There is only this moment, this stillness, the gentle rise and fall of your own breath. You have carried the weight for long enough. You can set it down now. Let it rest. There is nothing more that needs to be done, nothing more that needs to be said. Allow the quiet to fold around you like a heavy blanket. Allow your thoughts to slow, to drift, like ships in a silent sea. Your own long journey is coming to an end for the night. It is time to enter the dreamless sleep, time to rest, to recharge, to find your own peace in the quiet dark. So close your eyes, if you haven't already. Thank you for spending this time with us. May your dreams be peaceful and your rest be deep. Good night. This quiet is different. It is not the loaded silence before an ambush, nor the respectful hush of a memorial. It is an empty quiet, the kind that exists in the deep void between star systems. Inside this transport, you feel the low, steady vibration of the engines through the deck plating, a constant reminder that you are hurtling through nothingness towards the next something. The war is always waiting. You remove your gloves, one by one. The skin of your hands is pale, crisscrossed with faint scars. You trace a line on the cool metal of your thigh plating. The armor is a second skin, a shell you have inhabited for more of your life than not. Without it, you feel strangely light, untethered. It is both a cage and a sanctuary. It is who you are. Memories flicker at the edge of your consciousness. Not your own, perhaps, but fragments you have absorbed. The last words of a dying Marine en reach. The defiant shout of a civilian on a glassed colony world. The silent, determined face of another Spartan as they armed a bomb, knowing they would not be leaving. These are not your memories to own, but you carry them anyway. They are part of the weight, the collective history of the war, imprinted on your soul. Each of you carries a similar burden. You are a brotherhood and sisterhood forged in trauma. You understand each other without words, with a simple nod or a slight shift in posture. You can predict each other's actions in the chaos of a firefight with near-perfect accuracy. It is a bond deeper than family. And yet, when the helmets come off, in the profound quiet of a long transit, you are islands. Each of you adrift in your own sea of memory and silence. You think about the concept of home. Was it the barracks where you trained? The cryopod that carried you across the galaxy? The heat of battle alongside your siblings? Home is meant to be a place of safety, of belonging. For you, the closest thing to it has always been the brink of danger, the place where your purpose is sharpest and most clear. This quiet, this stillness is far more alien. It is a place without orders, without objectives. It is a place where you are left alone with your thoughts. Perhaps this is the final test. Not surviving the enemy, but surviving the peace that follows. What does a Spartan do when the wars are over? Can a sword be beaten back into a plowshare? Can a person built for conflict ever find solace in tranquility? You don't have the answers. No one does. For now, the war continues, and so your purpose remains. It is a cold comfort, but a comfort nonetheless. You feel your eyelids growing heavy. The thrum of the engines is a deep, lulling lullaby. The recycled air is cool on your face. You let the unanswerable questions drift away. They will still be there tomorrow, and the day after. For now, there is only this small pocket of time, this fragile truce between battles. A moment to let the weight settle, to let the silence hold you. A moment to simply be, and to finally rest. And now, as the galaxy holds its breath between one crisis and the next, you finally have a moment to yourself. The war machine is vast and never truly sleeps, but its individual cogs must sometimes rest. You sit on the edge of your narrow cot, in a room that is as Spartan as your title suggests. Bare gray metal walls, a single storage locker, and the quiet hum of the vessel's life support system. The air tastes clean, recycled, endlessly filtered. A constant reminder that you are adrift in a sea of stars, a manufactured bubble of life, a long, long way from home, or what used to be home. Your armor is locked in its diagnostic cradle on the other side of the room. Its familiar weight is gone, and in its absence, you feel strangely light, almost fragile. You run a hand over your forearm, tracing the faint, silvery lines of old scars. Each one is a memory etched into your skin, a plasma burn from a skirmish on Tribute, a shrapnel wound from the siege of Meridian. Deeper still are the marks from your augmentations, the faint geometric patterns that whisper of a childhood that was not a childhood at all. They are a map of your life, a life sworn to the protection of others, even at the cost of your own history. You close your eyes. The memories are not just images, they are feelings. The bone-rattling shudder of a pelican under fire, the biting cold of a snow-swept alien world, the oppressive, humid heat of a jungle teeming with unseen things. They are smells, too. The sharp, electric scent of a discharged plasma pistol, the acrid smoke of a burning warthog, the sterile, antiseptic smell of a medical bay that you came to know far too well. These sensations are your constant companions, more present sometimes than the here and now. And then there are the faces, the ghosts. In the quiet of your quarters, they feel closer than ever. You see them in the faint reflection on a powered-down data pad, their smiles young, their eyes full of a light that was extinguished too soon. You hear their voices in the low thrum of the ship's engines, a snatch of a shared joke, a whispered word of encouragement in the heat of battle. They are not menacing, these ghosts. They are a quiet counsel, the honor guard of your memory, a silent testament to the price of peace. Your solitude is not emptiness. It is crowded with the lives you fought alongside, crowded with the worlds you saved and the ones you could not. You look at your hands. They have held rifles and detonators. They have administered medical aid to the fallen. They have steered dropships through impossible odds. Now, resting in your lap, they look like anyone else's hands. Just flesh and bone, capable of so much destruction, yet seeking only stillness. You curl them slightly, feeling the rough synthetic weave of the standard issue blanket on your cot. A simple, grounding texture in a universe of chaos.